Each one more his march on Nirvana's changeless shore.
And very good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome once again to the weekly Sunday Pūjā in Unison and Dhamma Sharing Online, an initiative of 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓷 Buddhist Council of Malaysia and hosted by MSBS and DBV. It's certainly good to see all of you once again on this online platform. We'd like to extend a great welcome to all new viewers to this channel. Today is the 11th of June 2023. So to begin today's puja, I shall now invite Sister May to read out the offerings in English. What do you, Sister May?
Thank you very much, Brother Terence. 𝓤𝓾𝓷𝓭𝓪 𝓂 and a very good morning to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to our weekly online Sunday Pūjā and Dhamma sharing. Before we begin the Puja chanting, let us compose our minds and reflect on the significance of the virtual offerings that we shall make with full respect to our blessed teacher, the Buddha. First of all, offering of lights. May we offer these candles, burning brightly out of deep respect and veneration to our enlightened Master, the Buddha. May these lights symbolically guide us to the light of the Dhamma, which dispels the darkness of greed with the light of generosity, the gloominess of hatred with the light of love, and the darkness of ignorance with the light of wisdom through the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Offering of joss sticks and incense. May we offer these joss sticks and incense out of deep respect and veneration to our blessed Master, the Buddha. May the fragrance of these joss sticks and incense be pleasing unto the gods and devas. May our good deeds be like the fragrance of these joss sticks, cultivating compassion, patience, tolerance, understanding, and love towards all living beings. Offering of water. May we offer this water to symbolize our aspiration to cultivate the virtues of calmness, clarity, and purity. Let it remind us to diligently cleanse ourselves of our spiritual defilements and delusion through the cultivation of generosity, compassion, and wisdom. Offering of flowers. These flowers too we offer out of deep respect and gratitude to our compassionate Master, the Buddha. These flowers, sweet, beautiful, and choice, are clustered at the feet of our noble Master. Beautiful as they are now, they will soon, with passing of time, wilt and fade and be cast away. Reflecting thus on this very nature of unsatisfactoriness, impermanence, and soullessness, let us tread the path shown by the Buddha for the eradication of sufferings here and now. Dear brothers and sisters, let us continue to compose our minds and give our highest salutations to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha by saying sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccacara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sawada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya majjapamadatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijjacarana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhammasarati Sattha deva manusanang buddho bhagavati Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehipassiko opanaiko paccatang vedittabbo vinyuhiti Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Nyānyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Sāmici patipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho Yadidang cattari purisa yugani atta purisa pukkala Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punya ketang lokasati
Vandami ceti yang sabbang sabbathane supatitthang saririka dhatu mahabodhing buddha rupang sakalang sada yasamule nisinnova sabbari vijayang akka patto sapanyutang sattha Vande tang bodhipadapang ime ete mahabodhi lokanathena pujita ahang pite namassami bodhi raja namattute Kandasarappaditthena dipena tamadang sina 𝓤𝓾𝓷𝓭𝓪 sambuddhang pujayami tamonudang ganda sambara yuttena dupena hang sugandina pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana muttamang adivase tu no bante paniyang parikappitang Anukampang upadaya patikan hatu muttamang adivase tu no bante bojanang parikappitang อนุคัมปังอุปาดายปฏิกันหาตุมุตตมังอดิวาเสตุโนบันเตกิลานาปัจจยาอิมังอนุคัมปังอุปาดายปฏิกันหาตุมุตตมังวันนากันดากุโนเพตังเอตังกุสุมสันตติงปูจยามิมุนิงดัสสะสิริพาดสโรรุเหปูเจมิบุตดังกุสุเมนะเนนะปุญเยนะเมเตนะจะโหตุมกกังปุพพังมิลายาติยถาอิดังเมขโยทัทายาติวินาสบาวังอัคคาสัทธาจะบุมมัตถาเดวานากามหิตดิกาปุญญันตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรัมรัหันตุโลกสาสนังอาคาสัทธาจะบุมมัตถาเดวานากามหิตดิกาปุญญันตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรัมรัหันตุเดสนังอาคาสัทธาจะบุมมัตตาเดวานากามหิตติกาปุญญันตังอนุโมดิตวาชิรัมรักหันตุมัมปรันติเดโววัสสตุคาเลนะสัสสสัมปัตติเหตุเจปิโตภวตุโลโกเจราจาภวตุดัมมิโกอิดังเมญญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหันตุญาตโยอิดังเมญญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหันตุญาตโยอิดังเมญญาตินังโหตุสุขิตาหันตุญาตโยอิมินาปุญญกัมเมนะมาเมปานาสมากัมโมสตัมสมากัมโม
โหตุ
ยาวานิบานาปัตยาคาเยนะวาจจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังกัมเมบันเตภูริปัญญาตถาคตาคาเยนะวาจจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังกัมเมดัมมาสันดิตติกาอัคคาลิกาคาเยนะวัจจจิตเตนะปมาเดนะมายากตังอัจฉยังกัมเมสังฆาสุปฏิปันนาอนุตตรา
การณียมัตตกุสเลนะยันตังสันตังปาดังอภิสเมชะสักโคอุจุจสุจุจสุวัจโจจัสสมุดุอนาติมานีสันตุสักโคจะสุบาโรจะอัปปกิจโจจะสัลละหุกวุตติสันตินริโยจะนิปะโกจะอัปปกัปโบคุเลสุอานานุกิตโดนะจะคุดดังสมาจาเรกินชีเยนะวินยูภาเรอุปวเดยุงสุขิโนวาเคมิโนหนตุสัพเบสัตตาภาวันตุสุขิตัตตาเยเกจิปานาบูตาติตัสสาวะทาวราวะอานาวเสสาติกาวาเยมหันตาวามัจจิมารัสสกานุกตุลาดิตตาวาเยวะอัดดิตตา ye cha dure vasanti avidure bhutawa sambhavesiva sappe satta bhavantu sukhitatta naparo parang nikubeta nati manyeta kattacinang kanci biaro sana patigasanya nanya manya sedukka mitcheya mata yata niyang puttang ayusa eka putta manurakke evam pisabha bhutesu manasang bhavaye aparimanang mettang ca sabha lokasmin manasang bhavaye aparimanang uddang ado ca tiriyan ca asang badang averang asapattang tittang carang nisinova sayanova yavatassa vigadamiddo etang sating aditteya brahmametang viharang idamahu dittinca anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno kame suvineya gedang nahi jatu gappaseyang punareti etena saca vajjena sotite hotu sabbada etena saca vajjena sotite hotu sabbada etena saca vajjena sotite hotu sabbada. By this declaration of the truth, may you be safe at all times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Sister Doris and Sister May, for today's Sunday Pūjā. This week, back with us is Bro Leng Huat to share on revisiting the 5 precepts. Over to you, Bro Leng Huat.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good to be back with you all again, but I've chosen a very fundamental topic. I won't call it simple, I just call it fundamental. This is very fundamental because sometimes during the course of my meeting with friends, during the course of our conversation, and also during the course where, of course, I'm also teaching chanting 3 times a week. We have Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. I do come across sometimes ideas about these 5 precepts, which is sometimes a bit, views from other people. I know they are not actually Buddha's instructions. So basically, sometimes these 5 precepts, these actually Buddha introduced the 5 precepts to the lay people to promote moral and ethical living. And the basic law, of course. First, the Buddha wants to promote moral and ethical living. And then also, these 5 precepts is actually for self-development. The motives are for self-development. So we were to understand it gradually. These are for ethical living, moral living, and then we talk about self-development. And the Buddha also assured us that those people who uphold these precepts are confident in any gathering. Whenever we go and meet people, we go for parties, we go for gatherings, we are more confident because we have maintained our precepts. It means we are respectable. We have got good reputation, so it's easier. And that is on the surface today. Our benefit immediate is, of course, we become very respectable, and people will kind of respect us now. Yeah. And then also, but for afterlife, the Buddha says it's also good that you will be reborn in heaven or as human beings again. So that is after birth, after death. Okay, so we are still assured of benefit after death. We will not be reborn in unhappy destination. And the four woeful states we will not be there. So we understand these basic things. So these precepts are not commandments. I remember, these precepts are not commandments. These are more kind of, we voluntarily will want to observe these precepts. Yeah, these are not commandments. Okay, these precepts are not commandments, but we have agreed that we will take these precepts, and then upholding this precept is sometimes okay, when we do this precept, sometimes in our ceremony, small ceremony, before we begin our puja, we begin everything, we will recite the 5 precepts individually. We will invite the Bhante to administer the 5 precepts, and these are all done individually. We recite after him individually. The reason is simple. If we break 1 precept, we still have 4 to maintain. They are not collective, don't worry about this being collective. Let's say you scold people today, that means you've broken musawada. That's all. The other 4 are still intact. So that's why we recite after the monks individually, so that we will observe this precept individually. Sometimes it's difficult for us to maintain all the 5 at one time. So the Buddha gave a leeway in case we breach all these things. So a lay person who holds this precept, sometimes people will be very proud of us. We become a jewel among them, wow, they say this jewel are very good, maintain this precept, never do wrong things and all those things. So which is very good for us. Okay. And then again, we say that we do these things sometimes formally we would want to do. That means to say that we want to observe this on Upa Saturdays. Sometimes we do it very, we will sacrifice our life. You see a lot of Jataka stories that sacrifice their lives. But sometimes we do it just out of, what we call it is reflex, out of reflex. And those are the Arahants. They do things out of reflex, not because it is wrong or it is right. It is just a reflex. So we have to cultivate ourselves that way. So basically that is about the 5 precepts. Now, like I've said, sometimes during my course of meeting people, my course of teaching them, chanting, with short discussion in between, we do get ideas about, people asking questions, okay. Among the very popular ones, they will say that, people will misconstrue this precept as commandments. And some were aware that we don't believe in God. Some people are aware we don't believe in gods or capital G-O-D. So they will ask us, if you don't believe this God and all that, so how do you maintain your kind of moral and ethical behavior? Right? Not because for them it's simple, they follow the word of God, the commandment of God. The God command them not to do this, not to do that, so they follow it. So it is very good. But people like us, they say, hey, you people got no nothing. So how do you maintain your moral and ethical living? Correct not? So these are the questions people ask, which is very true, isn't it? Since you don't believe in God, so what are we doing? So, but we will tell them that for us, any thought, speech or action that are rooted, for us, we will say that our thought, our speech, our action, which are rooted in greed, hatred, delusion, is something that will keep us away from Nibbana. So these things, we will know that these kind of things are not good. Okay, things that are rooted in greed, they're rooted in hatred and delusion. We say that these are no good. Things that are rooted in giving love, in giving, like dana, giving, love, and wisdom. These are things that are good. When we give advice to people, that is dana also. So when we give advice to people, or when we show concern for people, and we share our wisdom, we guide them. These are the things that are good, and that will help us to cultivate our way to Nibbana. So that is our guide. So we tell them that is our guide. Yes, we do not have commandments, but we use this as our guide. As long as our speech, our thoughts and our actions are not rooted in greed, hatred, delusion, that is what we should do. They must not be rooted in this greed, hatred, delusion. So that is our way of saying what is right and what is wrong. So we are not God-centered, therefore we don't worry about commandments. And remember, these are precepts, things that we say that we abstain. We abstain from doing these 5 precepts. I will not, okay, the 5 precepts in short, you know, we abstain from killing, we abstain from stealing, we abstain from sexual misconduct, we abstain from telling lies, and we abstain from intoxicants. These 5 precepts, I assume that we all know, but we are just touching on, we have just to revisit them and see what is the impact we have. Some people call it, so these are the things that we do. So to know whether what we do is right or wrong, the Buddha says it's all about intention. Okay, we must remember the intention, the intention of our actions, the intention of our speech, the intention of our, these are the things that are our feeling, right? Our reaction. So intentional actions are Dhamma, the Buddha says. So we remember our intentions are very, very important here. Here we remember that for us to maintain our precepts is the intention. We must make sure that whatever we do, will have good effect on people and good effect on us. Okay? If it is really good effect on people, not good on us, we also avoid. If it's good for us, not good for people, we must also avoid where possible. But we must do things that are good for us and good for people. So that is how we will gauge ourselves. We gauge ourselves. So we gauge ourselves on this kind of results. Our intentions, what we do. What are our intentions? All right. So this is very important because this will lead you to understand that there are no do's and don'ts in precepts. You know, we cannot say that your precept says we cannot do this. Our precept says we cannot do that. The precept says we cannot eat this. The precept says we cannot eat that, you know. Because it's all about intention. If you're eating for food, I think it's okay. Correct? We don't say that we cannot eat this kind of animals, this animal, we don't eat this animal, we don't eat. I've heard of cases like that. People say we cannot eat this item, we cannot eat that item. So that's why it prompted me to share with you all these things, to know that it's all about intentions. So now among the popular question that I told you that people say that Buddhists don't believe in God. So what is this precept? Who give you this precept? But this is all about self-development. It's a guide from the Buddha about our self-development. Because through the precepts, we will develop ourselves spiritually through the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. So Sila, Samadhi, and Panya are all actually rooted in the 5 precepts, which we will demonstrate to you shortly. Yeah, I will demonstrate that to you. Of course, sometimes people say the Panya is not there, you know, mostly about Sila and Samadhi, you know, or maybe Sila, you know, but we'll try to revisit this slowly and see how does it lead us to Sila, Samadhi, Panya. We will do it gradually, we do it gradually. So now that answers the question. I know whether Buddhists have gone vote for morality and things like that. People will ask you, since you don't believe in God, so what do you do, you know? So we say, yeah, we do that. The Buddha's guide to us is like that. And then now some people will also say that, you know, we hear of cases now where people say that, so if you observe a precept, does it take away our freedom? You know, what do you mean by taking away our freedom? So, because sometimes people think that when we become Buddhists, there are a lot of restraints and constraints. We cannot do this, we cannot do that, cannot do this, we cannot do that. So they will ask you, like, no, the precepts take away your freedom. So I personally don't feel that it has taken any freedom because it's a gradual form of learning. If you learn it gradually, this restraint is not heavy. This restraint, you won't feel the restraint. So receiving precepts does not take away your freedom. It does not take away your freedom to doing things you love. Don't think that you observe 5 precepts, you cannot do this, cannot do that. So not true at all. Receiving precept actually protects you. It protects you from doing bad things that will cause you to be reborn in a 4 woeful state. That will cause you with a bad rebirth. Correct? So precept help you. Don't worry, it doesn't restrain you. It helps you. Although these are not commandments, like we say, these are not commandments of superior being, but these precepts help us. Help us to be reborn in a very happy state in our next life. Okay? This precept help us to refrain from evil deeds and thoughts, So this precept that we talk about, it helps us to refrain from evil deeds and thoughts. Okay, we try to connect this to the 8 precepts. I mean to the Eightfold Path, the 5 precepts to the Eightfold Path. So we will say that, the 5 precepts are part of the right speech. Okay, yeah, we say musavada, right speech, and then we talk about panatipata, don't kill, that is about your right actions, and then we talk about adinadana, cheating, okay, not so much cheating, maybe more on intention. So, okay, we will revisit it slowly. So we talk about right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right? So these are the aspects from the Noble Eightfold Path. It is very clear there that we have to speak correctly, we must not kill, and then we must live carefully. So the core teaching of Buddhism is that. Okay. Now we can also touch on sati and samadhi actually, if we talk about panatipata, veramani, we talk about adinadana, we talk about musavada, we talk about kamesu, that is sexual misconduct, which is all about body. So when we talk about speech, body, and all that, those are all right actions. We talk about the sila. But let's not forget when we talk about 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓷, 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓷 is to abstain from intoxicating your mind. It talks about refraining from your mind, from clouding your mind. So that is also, you think carefully, that may be also sati, isn't it? And samadhi. You want your mind to be clear. Mind to be clear is about sati and samadhi. When your mind is clear, you see things correctly. Correct? You clear your mind, because if you drink, your mind becomes cloudy. So that's why the Buddha says we refrain from drinking when it clouds your mind. So we avoid it that way. Not because the drink is poisonous, no, but because the drink will cloud your mind. So that will lead you to understand the sati and samadhi, I think. From my view, I think it helps you to understand the Eightfold Path. Now, again, when you got your mind clear, what does it do? It helps you with right thoughts and right view. Correct? Sammaditthi as a right view, right understanding. When your mind is clear, no greed, no hatred, no delusion, then you will understand things with the right view. That is sammaditthi. So one of your Eightfold Path. Correct? So it is all linked, You don't think that these are basic and nothing to do, won't help you to be enlightened. No, but you link them together slowly. When you don't drink, it is important because you don't cloud your mind. When you don't cloud your mind, what does that mean? You can have full concentration. Correct? You can have samadhi. You can have full mindfulness. Your mind is not clouded. You can be mindful. You can be concentrated. And when your mind is mindful, and when your mind is concentrated, what does that mean? It sees things clearly. When it sees things clearly, what does that mean? It means that you got sammaditthi. Correct? So you achieve a sammaditthi also. You can. Correct? So don't take it as basic and simple. We have to try to link it. And when we practice with that intention. We practice with that intention so it doesn't become too painful. Some people say restraining is dukkha also. But when we understand things carefully, restraining is no more dukkha. When we understand things gradually, restraining is not dukkha. Otherwise, you restrain yourself from everything without understanding, it is dukkha. You tell me cannot do this, cannot do that, cannot do this, cannot do that, then it becomes dukkha for me. Everything cannot do. How? I become a Buddhist, I cannot do everything. So it's the dukkha for me. So we must remember. So when we say that we don't want to drink, what does it mean? I want my mind to be clear. Okay. So if you, okay, then your mind is clear. What do you mean? Your mind can become concentrated. You can become mindful, become sati, samma sati, mindfulness, whereby you are not so heedless, correct? And then we say that your mind is in samadhi, concentration. So your mind becomes clear. When your mind is clear, without all these intoxicants and all these drugs and all these kind of things in you, you have right view. You see things correctly. It's samma ditti, and then you have right thoughts, correct? Samma sankappo. So it is related in a way. So the practice of 5 precepts, if you analyze it carefully, you will understand that it is a very serious. The Buddha is fully enlightened, correct? The Buddha is fully enlightened. What does that mean? He teaches differently to different people, correct? Now, when that gentleman called 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓼𝓸𝓷, correct? So 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓼𝓸 asked the Buddha also, like, no, okay. People like us, we are Bhantes and all that, we are renunciates, and we are monks, we are, okay, we understand that we can develop ourselves, correct? What about the lay people? Correct. Do you think the Buddha will leave the lay people behind? No, correct. Because like you say, if you analyze carefully, there are more lay people than there are ordained people today. Correct. In Malaysia itself, we can easily say maybe there are 2.5 million, 3 million people who are Buddhists, maybe 3 million. How many Bhantes are there in Malaysia? Maybe 300, Right. So there are very few Bhantes than the lay people. So do you think the Buddha will leave us behind? Do you think the Buddha will not give us proper teaching for us to be enlightened also? So the Buddha says the lay people observe the 5 precepts. The Buddha made it very simple, although it is very profound actually. But the Buddha made it very simple, not to frighten the lay people, not to frighten the lay people, or you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Then they also panic, they all don't become Buddhists, they don't become his followers. So the Buddha put it very simple for us, observe only the 5 precepts. Correct? No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no false speech, no intoxicant. That's all the Buddha says. But then when we practice this slowly, it does not leave us behind. It doesn't mean that they can progress spiritually and we cannot. You analyze this carefully. When you observe this carefully, actually you're controlling your body. You see, we know that all our akusala actions, all our bad actions, remember, all our bad actions are through the body, speech, and mind. Correct? Correct. The Buddha has made it very clear, all our bad actions are through the body, speech, and mind. These 5 precepts are actually controlling, restraining your body, your speech, and your mind. Correct? You can analyze it carefully and see that this is also training you to restrain from bodily kind of sensual pleasures too much. Correct? To tell you to control your speech, your false speech too much. Correct? And to tell you to cultivate your mind. Correct? So 𝓤𝓷𝓲𝓪 is cultivation of the mind. So these are all voluntary actions that we will adopt. And we will, if you can adopt this very well, you eventually also can reach that spiritual level. Okay? So that is kind of an introduction a bit lah. So now, so we know that these are not commandments. These are only things that we cultivate our mind now. Okay? So what else we can say is sometimes then people ask us, sometimes people are very careful. Sometimes people will ask us things like, we say, panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, you cannot kill. Correct? Not you cannot kill. we abstain from killing. We abstain from killing. Sometimes people will say, there are cases that people say that they don't even want to kill a mosquito, they don't want even to kill a cockroach, they don't want to see. There was a case where they even say that you cannot become doctors because doctors kill bacteria, kill these germs and all that, So these are going to the extreme. Did the Buddha teach us that? No. You see, maybe during the time of the Buddha, this no killing is for whom? For those practitioners who do a lot of animal sacrifice. Correct. In the good old days, during the Brahmanic period, the Vedas teaches them how to do animal sacrifice. Okay, you know what is animal sacrifice, You see, so the Buddha is trying to say that you don't do animal sacrifice, we don't kill. This is trying to curb this kind of things also, you see, and then do more practical things. Even today, I think today also in Nepal, they still do this animal sacrifice, They will sacrifice thousands of animals, every year, to the deities, and sometimes they do it very, very, you see, the cow is very strong, so they think they cannot challenge the cow, hold the cow, and then put on the head. So they want to show that they are macho, they can do that. So what they do, sometimes they will put the cow in a cage for 1 month, without water and food, So the cow becomes very weak after 1 month. So that's the time when they think they can show that they are macho, they kill the cow alone, they can jump on the cow and then just, But because they torture the cow, So these are the things that the Buddha says don't do. That's why the Buddha says panatipata. So this panatipata, we don't worry too much about the smaller things. Of course, we don't worry. When I say we don't worry too much about these small insects, does not mean that I'm encouraging you from killing. I'm not encouraging you. So one thing we say that, you see, our main aim is actually our main aim. The Buddha left home. The Buddha left home to overcome, to find solution to overcome suffering. Correct? The Buddha's main aim of living his comfort, his home, his palace, is to find solution to overcome suffering. So when we talk about killing these things all, we are actually inflicting suffering onto all these animals and insects. So we are trying to say that these precepts sometimes are not easy to carry out, but because we understand that the Buddha's idea is to overcome suffering, that we Buddhists, we want to avoid causing suffering, correct? We want to avoid causing suffering, and then we know that killing everything, every living being is afraid of death. So we are causing a lot of suffering to the animals. So that's why it becomes people will practice that way. It is very respectable. I'm not saying that the Buddha says that you cannot, all that. Killing has got a criteria to satisfy. I believe many of you all know the criteria, although maybe, okay, we will talk about it quickly. So now, probably when you decide to kill an insect, or something that spreads diseases, you have no choice, isn't it? If there's bird flu, then you have no choice. Maybe you have to remove some of the birds. But that does not mean you are right. You are doing bigger good, agreed. But we must also agree that it is never wholly wholesome. Correct? It is wholesome that we are looking for the bigger good. Correct? We avoid spreading, maybe, okay, let's say bird flu is on. So to avoid this from affecting the humans too much and killing all the humans, maybe we have to curb or cull the birds. I'm not saying it is right, because if you base on the fact that the Buddha says that you cannot inflict suffering onto others, then it is not very wholesome. Correct? But if you look at the point for the bigger good, it is wholesome. So it is more wholesome than it is unwholesome. And that is, I think, what I will say. I'm not encouraging, but you have no choice. There comes a time when somebody with a dagger comes and try to kill you, try to rob you, and then some kung fu moves, and then you overcome him and you kill him. So what to do? So it is about the bigger good, about self-defense and things like that. So the Buddha have given us 5 criteria that constitute to killing. Killing means the Buddha says you must have motive. Correct. We didn't have motive when we killed the robber. The robber was trying to kill me. I just twisted his arm and then he poked himself. He died. Correct. So I didn't have that motive. I was only defending myself. Maybe the birds that you cull, also you can say that your motive is not because you hate birds, but because they're spreading diseases. You have to cull them. Fine. You know. So yes, it's wrong and right lah. Wrong and right, but it's bigger right than the wrong lah. That's what we are trying to say lah. So also the Buddha says you must know, you must have the action to kill, you must have intention to kill, you must know the thing is alive, you must really take your knife or whatever weapon to kill, and the thing must be dead. You know, so these are the conditions that the Buddha says to satisfy killing. So in many cases, when we step on ants, we step on things that we didn't see, that does not constitute killing. In short, if you based on the 5 criteria, this doesn't constitute killing. So we must not be too concerned about killing those mosquitoes and all that. Although I say that yes, it is not right, but sometimes it's for the bigger good. If the mosquito is spreading dengue around your area, you have to cull all the mosquitoes, you have to get rid of all the mosquitoes, you have no choice. Correct? For the bigger good lah. For the bigger good. So this is a very tricky question. Some of you may have a different opinion. Fine, go ahead. Everybody can have your own opinion of understanding. Like I've said, the 5 precepts are all voluntary. We practice and cultivate it ourselves. You cultivate it in such a way that you connect this to the Eightfold Path. You can become enlightened now. Why not? Correct? The Eightfold Path is the only way, the Buddha says. Correct? So that will kind of clear some doubts lah. You know, some people say they don't want to eat certain things, live fish in the aquarium, they don't eat. Okay, agreed, we agree. It is a very good practice, you know. Of course, we don't, you know, but of course we say we eat fish that are dead, that are already frozen. Yeah, fine, go ahead. These are the practices that you choose, you know, but these are not the teachings of the Buddha lah, you know. But these are also added in by a lot of very wise people, you know. The commentaries maybe, or wise people add them in. Wise people add a lot of things in, you know. You know. Okay, so we'll come back to we'll come back lah. So we say that Buddhists are too concerned lah, you know, with ants and bugs and all those things lah. So we say that yes, we are striving. Yes, we can tell them yes, it is true, you know, because we are trying to develop compassion now. Compassion that is not discriminating. Correct, because metta, we learn metta. Metta is not discriminating. Remember, the long, the short, the big, the small, the seen and unseen, that swims, that floats, all those things, we must not kill. Yes, that is metta that we are trying to, we are trying to cultivate metta. Okay, so we are developing compassion, which is undiscriminating. So metta is compassion which is undiscriminating. Compassion alone can be discriminating. Yes, when we have compassion, we choose to only help our friends. We choose to help only these people, only these people, only these people. So the Buddha added in metta. So metta and compassion, when they come together, then it is not discriminating. Then your compassion is not discriminating. Backed by metta, it is not discriminating. It's all embracing. So that is, we will say, yes, we agree. We agree that we see the world as a unified whole. That everything that lives in the world has a place in the world. So that is why we do that. So of course, these are all subject to a lot of criticisms of people. But yes, we can agree that it is because of compassion. Because our compassion that we are trying to cultivate is undiscriminating and is all embracing. Yes, we agree. Although don't forget that we also think of the bigger good. Don't want to discriminate. Then even the birds that bring the bird flu, you don't want to cull them also difficult lah. Correct not? Then you become very, very. We become the cause of all this lah. So we must also help society lah. That is another way of actually developing your compassion lah. Compassion to society or compassion to the birds, which is the bigger good. So we have to choose that way. Don't forget, we always have a choice. You know, Buddhism is all about choice and all about intentions. So we must have the intention and the choice. So we must choose it carefully. There is no do's and don'ts lah. You know, don't say I cannot eat this, I cannot eat that. There's no such thing. You know, all intention. Eating, there is no do's and don'ts for us, but we must not crave for that food. Yes, that is wrong. If you are craving too much for that food, it's wrong. Like and dislike is there for us. We are all putujanas, Putujanas means we are normal human. We have lots of things that we like and lots of things that we dislike. That's normal, but we must cultivate to overcome this. When you can cultivate to overcome your like and dislike, that is the eventuality that we want. Correct? That is the state of Arahant. You have no more like and dislike. Correct? That is the state. So when we eat something, we take it as body food. Food for the body. Keep this body healthy so that this body supports the mind to be healthy. So that with that intention, there is no do's and don'ts. There's no such thing as cannot eat. Okay? Coming back also to maybe what do we say now? Okay, let us continue that way. Let's say we talk about the killing as a precept. We are saying that we eat something not because we like it and we want to kill it. I chose the best chicken in the market. I kill the chicken I eat. Okay, no. That I think is all about craving, right? But we will restrain ourselves from killing. We say we abstain from killing. What does that mean? We will, like I said, there are 5 criteria to make you guilty of killing. You have explained to you that there is life, there is action, there's motive, there's intention, there is benefit. The thing is dead. You must have these things to qualify. Okay, but you go to the restaurant, maybe you order some food and then they offer you, take it as food, then it's fine. Because you make sure that our hands do not kill. Our hands don't get involved with that killing. After that, that is not all, we avoid that killing, but make sure that our thoughts are also not about killing. Our thoughts also must refrain from that idea of wanting to kill. Correct? And that kind of thoughts and that cultivation actually will build up your compassion. Right? It builds up your compassion. That's what we're talking about. Buddhism is all about compassion. Love and compassion, metta and compassion. That is Buddhism. So what we do is when we don't have these thoughts, we don't harbor the thoughts of killing, we are developing our compassion. Right? And what happens also when you don't kill, you're restraining your anger. Don't forget. Right? Sometimes we get angry, Okay, example, I like to give this example. We see the cockroach in the house, the kacau, and we say, I must get the cockroach. I must find the cockroach. I must chase the cockroach, And then you buy all kind of spray you have, and then you chase the cockroach and spray everywhere. That is tension, correct not? But if you keep your house clean, the cockroach don't come, it's a good one. So does not mean that you're depriving the cockroach of food. You must keep your house clean. Okay, so again, like I've said, so it is, you see, no killing, okay, just quick one. I'm not going to elaborate. If you link it to anger, it's related to anger. Correct? It's related to hatred. Correct? So related to delusion. Correct? You think you kill the cockroach and no more cockroaches after that. But you forgot, tomorrow you kill this one, next one will come. Correct? So if you were to connect them to anger and to your hatred, to your delusion, it is there, all there. So we were to understand, so we practice like that, then it doesn't become a big restraint anymore. It does not become a restraint. It doesn't become dukkha. Correct? These are the things that because we understand, we are cultivating ourselves slowly. And we always say Buddhism is about gradual learning. Learn it gradually. Don't rush. Don't behave like you, when you are not there, don't behave like you are there. That's all. Because if you do that, then you become very angry. You impose on the things that you cannot achieve to others. So that's no good. So again, stealing also same thing. Also the Buddha also says there are conditions, that the 5 conditions must be there again. That you want to possess that thing that's not yours. It belongs to others. Your hand has taken it, and then you have benefited from it. So these are the conditions that the Buddha said that constitute stealing. Sometimes people say, if I find money on the street, how? I find $10 on the street, can I take it or not? All right. So I always tell them, if you feel uncomfortable, go to the nearest temple or nearest charitable home and put it in. Take that money and put it in a donation. So that is if you feel comfortable that way. Okay. So again, these things, when you say that you don't want to steal, your hand didn't take, Your mind must be free from that kind of greed also. Correct? Your mind must be free from that greed of wanting to own something which is not yours. Correct? Your mind must be free from that greed. So it is again greed. So greed which you don't get, it develops to hatred and then become deluded. You think that you want to steal. Correct? So you are practicing, greed, hatred, delusion again. So these are the three poisons that the Buddha wants us to overcome. It's about greed, hatred, delusion. So again, when people like us, if you start stealing, you start giving bribes also. So be careful. One thing leads to another. So better to avoid this so that your life becomes very wholesome. So sometimes you have to explain to people in this kind of way, so people understand why we have got this kind of precepts. And then why Buddhists got no God, but still you maintain. Why you got no God? Why you fear? You fear whom? Who is going to punish you if you don't follow your precept? You punish yourself, correct? So we don't believe in this thing. So again, sexual misconduct, you know what it means by sexual misconduct. So quickly I will just remind for you, that means you don't have any extramarital affairs for married people, or and don't use trickery, you go and trick people, blackmail people to compel them to have sex with you and things like that. And those people who are underage, these are the things that we don't do. Because the Buddha says, you think it that way. If you have an affair with people's wife, what happens if people have an affair with your wife? If you have an affair with people's children who are young, what happens if yours is also subjected to the kind of things? So you do things that people don't like and make sure that you do things that you also don't like. Can I not? You don't do things for people to, Can we do things that we like and people like, we benefit, they benefit. We don't do things that they don't like, because what happens to us if that happens to us? So you think of this way, you cultivate yourself again. So it's all about cultivation, It's not about restraint. The Buddha says I cannot. Buddha says there's nothing to do with the Buddha. It is all about us trying to restrain ourselves to be good people. Nothing to do. The precepts are nothing to do with the Buddha. Won't punish you. You want to enjoy yourself, get drunk, go ahead. Enjoy yourself, get drunk. You want to eat until your heart's content, go and eat. The Buddha will not punish you. But your body will punish you. Your mind will punish you. Your karma will punish you. Correct? So it is not about religious views. This is about, So again, sometimes very popular, people ask this question, we pening kepala, I say, sexual misconduct, sex before marriage. So this is a bit pening kepala. So you have to agree to how to advise people. This is a very popular question, we will remind them that, for us, Pujanas, the Buddha never says you cannot have a family life. Correct? The Buddha never said that. Except that you must honor your promise not to have anything extramarital. Right? So we are cheating on our wives if we do it. We are breaking our promise to her. When we get married, we promise her, don't worry, I will not do this, I will not do that, I will not do this, I will not do that. But if you do this, you do that, you're breaching your promise. Correct? It is again musawada. Correct? So it is connected to musawada. So you're actually doing that. I'm not going to elaborate this in case there are juniors who are listening to this. Maybe in class one day we can talk more. So these are the things. Then of course, it is impossible. You say that sometimes people say you don't tell lies, which is impossible. Correct? But we don't tell lies to benefit. We don't tell lies to benefit. That's all. Okay, some masters, some newer thinkers they've added in. So when you get things that are different, don't worry so much. Sometimes they're added in by new thinkers, new teachers. They add in a few more things inside. Okay, so you don't worry about hearing things that you cannot do this, you cannot eat this, you cannot eat that. These are done by the new teachers, the new thinkers, and they do it in good faith. And they're not wrong, they do it in good faith, thinking that it helps you to cultivate yourself. Okay. So then, and again, alcohol is another big issue, Alcohol, of course, as we say, clouds your mind. As long as you don't cloud your mind, don't allow anything that clouds your mind, right? The effect of alcohol, the Buddha says, is that it will cloud your mind. So that is why we avoid alcohol. But again, sometimes, we say it's intention again. It's intention. For instance, if you need alcohol as a medicine, sometimes people have to take medicine that is alcohol-based. There might be some alcohol in the medication. So from our point of view, that is not wrong. Because as long as your intention is not to cloud your mind, that is medicinal value. So as long as you take it for medicinal value, it is okay. You take a medicine that is alcohol-based, you have to take. Again, sometimes the problem is social drinking. Of course, social drinking, again, like you say, if it is to please people, if it doesn't cloud your mind, it's difficult, because, the Buddha says, don't let these things cloud your mind. So if it's a social drinking, you go to a wedding ceremony where you have to 𝓤𝓤𝓖𝙢𝙢𝙎 with a bit of wine. I do not know. I personally feel that it does not, that if you can take that without clouding your mind, personally, I don't see it as very wrong. Okay? Although the Buddha says don't take things that will cloud your mind. But if that thing is more to conform to traditions, it is more to conform to tradition, then I think it should be okay. Of course, they're subject to a lot of hoo-ha out there, maybe people who don't agree with these views. But what I'm saying, if it doesn't cloud your mind, it is perfectly okay. If it is conform to traditions. If it is, as an example, if you go to Sarawak or so, and this is all part of the tradition and culture, drink gawai, and they all must have some drinks. You go to a Chinese wedding, it is a tradition to have the drink. But I'm not propagating, I'm not encouraging you all to drink, please. I'm not doing that, but I'm giving you all views that we don't want to be so, like we say, you lose your freedom for just to receive the 4 or 5 precepts, you have to lose your freedom. You are saying that you don't lose your freedom. You do it wisely, you don't lose your freedom. It doesn't cause much restraint that leads you to suffering. I heard that restraint also is suffering. Yes, so this kind of restraint with understanding is not suffering. When you understand and you restrain it with understanding, it is not suffering. It is a very nice form of cultivation. You will see the meaning of that cultivation. You can see you transform yourself, and that is not suffering. That restraint with understanding is not suffering. That restraint with understanding, you will see the transformation in you. You will see the benefit coming to you. You will like it, you will enjoy it. So you must practice these 5 precepts to a point whereby it does not become too painful for you until it becomes dukkha. The 5 precepts is a guide for we Buddhists to remain good Buddhists, to do wholesome activities, so that we become respectable people today. And when we die tomorrow, we are assured of a good place for free birth. So that is our purpose. If we can understand this, I don't think it is going to be a big restraint for you. It is not a restraint. So this we have to remember now that we are practicing this as a form of Buddhist morality. In Buddhism, morality is very important. Of course, people will say, this is all negative. Every time I don't do this, I cannot do that. I don't do this, I abstain this, I abstain that, I abstain this, I abstain that. Why so negative? Why you cannot be more positive? Correct not? See, sometimes when people talk about dukkha, people say Buddhism is so pessimistic. So you tell them 5%, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. You're also pessimistic. But actually, they're not at all. Tell them that we first start to recognize the wrong things. When we recognize the wrong things, we do the right things now. Correct not? When we say start with the right things, then you don't know what's wrong, you continue with the wrong. No point. So we tell you this is wrong. Then you cultivate to be good. We tell you don't tell lies. You go for meeting, don't tell lies. Now you're honest, you go for meeting, you tell the truth. So it becomes very positive actually. It's not negative, it becomes very positive. Correct? You recognize that bad behavior is no good. So you stop the bad behavior, you cultivate good behavior. So it is not that negative. That's why even the Buddha says in stanza 183, remember, the Dhammapada verse, Sabba pasa karanang kusalasa upasampada. Sacitta pariyodhapanang etang buddhana sasanam. The Buddha says, avoid evil first. Then you do good. Correct or not? You must avoid evil. When you avoid evil, means you're doing good. Then you cultivate your mind. Correct? And that is the teachings of all the Buddhas. So we must start now refraining from telling lies, from doing things that is not necessary. So, okay, again, in summary, we'll tell you that if you abstain from killing, it is actually you are cultivating your kindness and compassion. Correct? So, of course, related to human rights, we say this is a right to life. Correct? You're giving people a right to live. Correct? When you abstain from killing, so it is kindness and compassion, it leads you the right to life. When you abstain from theft, it is about generosity and renunciation. We are not greedy, so it is generous. Generosity, I say it's a right to property. Not everybody starts stealing. So we say again that abstain from sexual misconduct is contentment and respect for faithfulness. Don't forget, correct? So it is your right to fidelity in marriage. Remember? Now we say that now we have made a promise. So when we abstain, it is honoring that. So abstaining from speaking falsehood or lies is to be honest and dependable. Correct? And when you're honest and dependable, you have dignity. People respect you. So you abstain from intoxicant, you remain mindful and very hateful. You become mindful and hateful, and you are responsible. Correct? And then you will become very safe and secure. Correct? If you drink, you drive, you're not safe and secure. Okay? So with that, I think I have given you the summary. So remember, we say killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct as the body. So musawara, speech, and drinking is the mind. So it's about cultivating our body, speech, and mind. It's about refraining from causing unwholesome activities through our body, speech, and mind. So it is not simple. It is not dukkha to practice that. If you understand that it helps you in your cultivation, it will help you in your cultivation. It does not impose a great kind of difficulty for you leading to dukkha. It is very simple and enjoyable to practice. Okay, that is your 5% that I can quickly cover for you for today. Thank you very much for your time again. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bro Tan Leng Huat, for today's sharing. Now we have spent some wholesome time, about 1 hour of doing the puja and listening to Bro Tan Leng Huat's Dhamma sharing. With that, we have accrued abundance of merits, and now let's dedicate those merits to all beings, whether they are seen, unseen, big, small, weak, strong. Akasatha ca bummatha devanaga mahiddhika punyang tham anumoditva chiram rakkantu loka sasanang ettavata ca amhehi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabbe bhuta sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. And aspirations. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yavani banapatiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for watching and staying back. For other videos, please go to the links below. Bye bye for now. See you all again next week.
Okay, done.